Good morning, good afternoon, good day, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to my second video. It's a journey in itself all the way along from the first one of last week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too long. Let's try and keep today's a little bit shorter and discuss a different important topic. And also, as I said, just as a bit of an intro, these videos will not just encompass what I've done, but also hopefully give you some advice, some expertise, carry out interviews with people who are in the industry with great experience, and whether they be good or bad, and hopefully product reviews. And at some stage, I'd like to go and do some site visits to promote or to discuss with company owners, wherever they may be, in the world of cannabis, of course, as to whether or not they feel they made the right decisions, they're making the right decisions going forward, how their journey has been so far, and hopefully give you some insight that we can then spread across the industry and start to share as a collective. So today, what are we talking about? Right, well, today I'd like to talk about the importance of why selecting genetics at the very outset of one's company is paramount. Especially in the world of cultivation, but also further on down the line in the sense of whether the product ends up in the clinic. It's been a bit of a debated topic in the sense that we look at genetics as the strains and obviously that we're going to grow, the characteristics, etc. But a lot of people tend to go for whatever is the highest cannabinoid content, whether that be THC, CBD, CBG, etc., etc., etc. When what we should do is look at the full profile of each strain, looking at the full terpene profile and the full flavonoid profile, and also whether or not there is properties within the chlorophyll that can also help and benefit. Now, what I always like to advise people is let's start at the patient end, but more importantly, the prescription side, and obviously based on research and what is the ailment they're actually trying to achieve. And today in the world of clinics, and forgive me if I'm going off topic, but today in the world of clinics, a lot of them I'm seeing and hearing are offering a range of all the very fancy names, whatever they may be, in the names that were given to them when they were recreational products. And patients are coming in and either asking for that particular strain, mainly because they know it, but because they know it from a recreational or from self-medication, and that's not a bad thing. But what we need to do is we need to look at the properties, because obviously, depending upon your geographical location, there are rules around how you consume it, whether it be smoked or vaped or baked or however it is done. And if it's a derivative, then obviously it's oils, gel caps, etc. Powders, tinctures, a plethora of different applications. But working closely with the clinic, and especially with the doctors within the clinic, and using the information that's been collected over many years now, and knowledge that's deep in there, what we need to do is to look at the percentages or the ratios between the higher more popular cannabinoids, THC, CBD, etc. But then what are the minors doing? So, for instance, obviously, I mentioned CBG at the beginning, and CBG has got great anti-inflammatory properties. Obviously, THC we look at for pain and for high pain, and for CBD we look at relaxation. But a combination of all of them could actually have a greater effect. And I've actually posted about this on my LinkedIn, and I'll resurrect that one again, probably in the coming days, so you can actually see the different makeup, the different profiles will actually treat different ailments. So, as a cultivator or as a business getting into the world of cultivation, yes, you're going to look at strains that are going to grow in your geographical location. Although, if you're fully indoors and fully climate controlled, that's not really such an issue, because you can replicate the conditions that is required quite easily. I say quite easily; it can come at great expense, but it is possible, and it's relatively easy to do. But working, as I say, with the physicians, working with the medical community, working with an understanding of the desired outcome of the product itself with reference to the patient ailment, we need to look at how that's going to work and then work on those strains to grow those strains effectively. But by doing that, it also helps from a business perspective because you're then growing specifically for a client or a set of clientele. And there's nothing worse that I see in the industry that the clinics themselves have issues with supply, whether or not that be down to their own financial side, and that's another topic in itself for another day. But more importantly, is the consistent supply of product, and they may be growing one strain in location A and the same strain in location B, and the clinic's already buying from location A. But the characteristics between A and B are very different. And if A doesn't have enough, the clinic will go to B, and then they're actually getting slightly different characteristics and somewhat very different characteristics because the strain has been grown very differently. But then a lot of clinics as well, I'm finding, are just looking at the percentages of the cannabinoid content. We need 20% THC, or we need 20% CBD, or whatever percentage it needs to be. And so they go to the open market and look for the people who are trading in the product and say, what have you got that closely matches this? Now, from a patient point of view, that's somewhat detrimental because your patient has imagine the scenario. Let's say you've gone to your clinic, you've been prescribed a product, you've consumed it in the way that it's been prescribed to be consumed, and it's worked really well. You then go back for your next month's supply, and because the clinic can't get hold of product A that you were given before, they're going to go for product B and give it to you, and then you're going to get a very different feeling. You're either going to be very despondent that the product isn't working, and your ailment is not actually getting any closer to being relieved or healed. And so what we have to do is really work closely with the clinics. And from a business perspective, as I mentioned before, if the grower is working closely with the clinics from day one, then you're going to find that you've actually got a client for life, as long as you can maintain the quality, the consistency, the purity, the cleanliness, all the things that we have to go through as a cultivator to be able to produce a medical-based product. Let's not forget, obviously, GACP, and then the process of going through GMP or EU GMP, depending upon your location. But my advice for anybody starting out in this world of cultivation is strain selection is vitally important, not just from a yield point of view, but also from a point of view of looking at it from how it affects patients, and work closely with a clinic from as close to day one as you possibly can. The clinic's going to have to bear with you because it's going to take quite a while for you to get to the point where you can harvest, you can sell that crop because of all the rules and regulations and certifications that you've got to go through. But work with them from day one, keep them informed, keep them in the loop, make them, if possible, a strategic partner, whether they take a shareholding in your business, whether that be through capital investment or through an interest that's going to secure business in the future. That way you'll make a client for life and you'll make patients happy. Very simple, very straightforward, but often very missed set of guidance that I'd like to give people. And I think that's it for today, a very short one. I tried to keep them a little bit shorter than the first one. The first one was quite long. I will say that the one that you saw last week was actually my third draft of the video, and it was much longer the first two times than the third one. But anyway, I'm trying not to bore people. I welcome your comments. I would like you to subscribe if that's possible. I think it's down there or down there. Please give me a thumbs up, and please, as I say, comment and share, because sharing is actually, as we say, helping people in other parts of medical cannabis community. So once again, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, the rest of your afternoon, whichever it may be. Thank you, and speak to you again very soon. Bye-bye.